Did anybody watch the Last of Us series? I didn't. Not a single episode. I watched like part of episode 1 of the season 1. I didn't even play The Last of Us Part 2. I played the first part, the original part, when it first came out on PS3. Haven't played it since. I loved it. I loved it then. And I really wanted to love The Last of Us Part 2, but I heard it was trash, so I watched part of the gameplay for it, and then it was. I was highly disappointed. And I heard terrible, terrible things about The Last of Us TV show whenever it was time for it to come around. And I was already out. And I watched the garbage TV shows. I watched Halo. I watched Lord of the Rings of Power. I watched Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like, I'm fine with watching these garbage TV shows. But I just couldn't with this one. I just couldn't. But apparently, Bella Ramsey explodes at Pedro Pascal after HBO cancels The Last of Us 3 and fires her for good. Did they? I heard that she's going to be making her way into the Marvel universe. Maybe she'll play the new Thing. Maybe she'll be the new She-Hulk. Let's go. I hope she's the new She-Hulk. That'd be amazing. Or the new Iron Man. Instead of Ironheart, we make Bella Ramsey just Iron Man. Iron Dad.
We just had to not like each other for a bit.
You had to not like me, which came easy.
So easy.
People hated The Last of Us Part 2. It was massively divisive.
The Last of Us was plagued by complaints of bad casting. And The Last of Us 2 is not faring much better.
The creator of the show is finally speaking out about its failure. The Last of Us creator Craig Mazin admits Season 2 was a failure.
When Bella Ramsey stepped into Ellie's shoes, the world was skeptical. She didn't look the part. She didn't sound like a clone of the game's original voice. But the second she delivered her first line, raw, sarcastic, fiercely vulnerable, she became Ellie. And now...
What? What? Who is this speaking? How do you miss the mark so badly? Because no, I don't know anybody who watched this show who was like, yeah, that's a good Ellie. I think most of the people who watched this show were watching it because they were like, how much worse can this get? I'm already invested. Maybe it'll get better. It didn't. At least from what I've heard. I watched a lot of reviews about it.
Now, that story might be over. Abruptly. Brutally. Not because Ellie's arc ended, but because the industry decided Bella's did. Alarming whispers are emerging. That The Last of Us Part 3 has been scrapped entirely, and worse, Bella Ramsey has been quietly cut loose from the franchise.
How do you get rid of the main character of a show? You scrap Season 3? Like, are you going to do a different Season 3 without Ellie? Is that what's going on? Like, how do you do that? Or are they just going to completely redo it? They're just going to reboot it. I hope that's what they do. I hope they just go ahead and reboot it and actually do it how it's supposed to be done. Not gonna happen, though. They're just gonna kill it and be like, well, it was the toxic masculinity that destroyed this franchise. It wasn't that we're terrible at making things.
No farewell, no announcement, not even a courtesy call. She found out the same way fans did, from leaks, rumors, and chilling silence. But Bella didn't stay silent. Especially not when someone she trusted, Pedro Pascal himself, allegedly turned his back on her. So,
well, he's a Hollywood guy. He's gonna do whatever the corporate Hollywood shills want him to do, because he himself is a shill. And he doesn't want to be blacklisted from Hollywood. He wants to be Hollywood's go-to guy that gets cast in everything. And that's what they're currently doing, and everybody fucking hates it. Even people who used to be fans of Pedro Pascal and still currently are like, man, I'm just tired of seeing him everywhere in everything.
Before we dive into the real madness, make sure to smash that like button and hit subscribe. You don't want to miss what's coming next. The real bombshells are just getting started. The Last fans had officially heard about The Last of Us. Part 3 was laced with cautious optimism. Neil Druckmann teased possibilities in interviews, sparking widespread speculation across podcasts, forums, and Reddit threads. Countless articles peddled supposed leaks, trying to decipher the future of Ellie and Joel. But behind all that fanfare, a far different story was reportedly unfolding. One of quiet retreat rather than triumphant return. According to multiple anonymous insiders close to production, HBO had already made the call to shelve the series.
Good. Good, might as well. What's the point of spending more money on this? When everybody knows that it's going to be widely hated. And it's not going to be one of the greats going into the future. Like, I feel like we've gotten into this weird thing. We haven't. Hollywood has, and like the corporate AAA companies for video games. They've all gotten this thing in their heads where they have to make as much money as possible on release. Day one, they have to make all the money. And then they want people to be monetized after that, going forward with like microtransactions and skin packs, things like that. And everybody's doing it. And I'm tired of it. I want things that are made to last. I want a game to come out that they're not expecting to sell any copies on day one. They just put it out, and maybe it sells, maybe it doesn't, and maybe it picks up in a couple years, 3 years, 4 years. A lot of the games that I play were like that. They weren't giant successes when they came out, and eventually grew to be giant successes. A lot of the shows that I like were like that. Star Trek: The Next Generation, it started off really rocky, ended up being one of the greatest shows of all time. Terraria, not very many people knew about Terraria when it first came out, and there wasn't very much to do. It wasn't a very big game. It was just this cool little fun indie game where you fight a couple bosses and then it's over. And then it grew and grew and grew. And then look at No Man's Sky, Stardew Valley.
There was no press release, no public-facing acknowledgement, not even a tweet to soften the blow. The decision was made in silence behind closed doors. Reports suggest that rising production costs, actor scheduling complications, and a growing belief among executives that the show had creatively peaked after its explosive first season all contributed to the sudden halt. But money and logistics weren't the only culprits. Behind the scenes, internal tension had been brewing for months. Creative differences between the network's decision-makers, the showrunners, and even the original game developers at Naughty Dog reportedly escalated into outright conflict. Bella Ramsey's portrayal of Ellie brought layers of emotional depth and raw vulnerability, but HBO allegedly wanted a more commercially friendly continuation. Rather than risk a third season that might fail to meet expectations, the network may have decided to quietly abandon the project altogether. And that decision, while seemingly calculated from a business standpoint, triggered a devastating ripple effect.
This person who's doing this video right now is pretty wrong about this. Bella Ramsey was a terrible Ellie. Like, what are you talking about? What are you on right now? Captivating character. No, she wasn't. I watched a bunch of the scenes. It was awful. She takes you out of it every time. She's a terrible actor. She's a terrible actor to play Ellie. Like, it was just like a confusing decision. I think the whole show was confused. And I think this person doing this video was slightly confused.
One that hit Bella Ramsey the hardest. For fans, the alleged cancellation of The Last of Us was shocking. But what happened to Bella Ramsey after?
Like, how was it shocking? Who were the fans of this? And how were they shocked that they canceled this? Like, real people, normal people saw this coming 10 miles away. How did you miss this one? Are people just getting dumber over time, you think? Because it kind of feels like it.
Afterward was downright cruel. Despite being the face of one of television's most iconic roles.
Who the fuck is one of television's most iconic roles? Get fucking real. Get out of here. What the hell are you talking about? I thought everybody was on board that this whole thing is a mess. Except for like the crazy woke leftist weirdos. This might be a crazy woke leftist weirdo channel. I don't know. I don't know who this is. It just like randomly popped up into my feed on YouTube.
Bella was reportedly cut from the franchise without warning, without ceremony, and, most painfully, without any official communication. HBO didn't issue a statement, nor did the creative team offer a farewell.
Like, did you not see it? How could you not see it coming? Were everybody just like sniffing each other's farts or something? Did you not notice? No, I don't think they did. I think they genuinely thought that all the criticism about this show was just fabricated hate. Because these people are fucking insane.
Instead, Bella simply vanished from the project's ecosystem. Suddenly, her presence at promotional events ceased. Her name quietly disappeared from upcoming press tours. There were no more Ellie-themed Instagram posts, no more interviews or TikToks reflecting on her experience. Rumors soon circulated that Bella had been fired, not with a dramatic confrontation or public fallout, but through silent dismissal. One source claimed she only learned about it through a friend who worked on the production crew. It wasn't immediate. It wasn't dramatic. It was slow, unsettling, and deeply personal. Fans started noticing a change in Bella's tone during interviews. She seemed more cautious, less enthusiastic. On social media, followers dissected a now-deleted TikTok in which she spoke cryptically about letting go of things you love when they no longer want you. At first, it seemed vague. In hindsight, it was heartbreak in disguise, a breadcrumb left behind by someone grieving the loss of something deeply personal. While the cancellation itself was devastating, what hurt Bella Ramsey even
The cancellation itself was devastating. What world are you living in? Like, actually, what world are you living in? I rarely react to a video of somebody I disagree so hard.
more, at least according to those close to her, was the absence of support from the one person she expected would have her back.
Of course he wouldn't! He's like a corporate Hollywood shill. Like, these people are fucking retarded. Holy shit! Like, they're off in their own little La La Land world. And they're not paying attention to anything. Where are you people? Like, where have you been?
Pedro Pascal. For fans and media alike, Pedro and Bella weren't just co-stars, they were a dynamic duo. Their chemistry on screen was undeniable, and off-screen, their bond had been described as familial. Bella once called Pedro a second father. They laughed together, supported each other, and seemed inseparable during the show's heyday. So, when the silence hit, Bella waited for a phone call, a text, some acknowledgement of what had happened. But according to insiders, none of that came. Pedro never reached out. Not after the leaks, not after the press went quiet, not when Bella needed someone most. That lack of response didn't just sting, it shattered her.
Welcome to Hollywood, baby! How'd you not see it coming? Fucking seriously. Everybody. This stuff always happens. Everybody saw it coming. If you're surprised, you were one of the people probably who were, like, defending this whole project and all these people the entire time. Like, no, this is the greatest thing of all time. This is the greatest show that I've ever seen. Such amazing actors, such amazing story. Do you not watch TV? Have you not seen any other show? Or do you only watch stuff that aligns with your political agenda? Because this is fucking ridiculous, man.
Reports indicate Bella privately confronted Pedro over messages. Allegedly, she accused him of choosing silence to protect his own image, of staying
Yeah, no shit. That's what they all do, and that's how he got to this point.
loyal to HBO rather than to the person who had stood beside him during the show's meteoric rise.
Yeah, because you're not gonna make him money. You are actively losing him money.
One of her close friends claimed she felt utterly abandoned, especially by someone she had trusted so deeply. Making matters worse were rumors that Pedro had known about the show's uncertain future long before it reached the rest of the cast.
Yeah, because he could probably smell the blood in the water because he's a shark. And he was like, oh shit, this is going off the rails. I see the sentiment online, and people are hating this so bad that they're starting to hate me.
He had already been in talks with major franchises, including Marvel and Star Wars, suggesting his exit was planned well in advance. If that's true, then from Bella's perspective, she wasn't just losing a job. She was losing a friend who had already moved on while she was still in the fight. What came next wasn't a fiery rant or a scathing public statement. It was a masterclass in subtlety. Bella Ramsey responded the only way she could.
Dude, why is so many people glazing this chick? Like, what is it about her? I think I can tell. I think I can see what it is about her. She's neurodivergent. She's non-binary. She looks like a walking mental illness. That's why they love her. And it's fucking weird.
Quietly, yet unmistakably, fans soon noticed that her social media presence began to shift. Posts celebrating The Last of Us disappeared. Mentions of HBO faded away. She unfollowed key producers and removed nearly every trace of her time as Ellie from her public profile. It was calculated, deliberate, and louder than words. Then came the post that lit the internet on fire. A single black and white photo. Bella, standing alone in a doorway, her silhouette illuminated by faint studio lighting. Her head was bowed, her posture solemn. And beneath the image, just 5 words. Loyalty is louder than silence. No emojis, no hashtags, no tags. But it didn't need any. The fandom immediately recognized it for what it was. A public reckoning. Within hours, the post went viral. Justice for Bella began trending. TikTok creators dissected every detail.
Yeah, congratulations, HBO. You fucking played yourself. You put yourself in this situation where you just had to double down, triple down, quadruple down on this being the greatest thing of all time. Greatest video game adaptation of all time. One of the greatest, most iconic shows of all time. All the criticism, that's just hate. Those aren't real. The review bombs, that's what they are, is just review bombs. It's not real criticism. Oh shit, no, actually we're losing a lot of money. We have to shut this down. Fuck. Everything that we said about this, we're just gonna have to stay quiet and just silently shut it down, and hopefully nobody notices. And then maybe in a few years people will be like, hey, remember that The Last of Us Season 3 was supposed to come out? Remember that? Oh yeah, I forgot. When's that gonna be a thing? And then 20 years later, people will be like, that'll be when people want a new The Last of Us show and they can retry. They can do another one. Yeah, they put themselves in this point. Because now, the person that they were trying to be silent about isn't being silent about it, and they're like, hey, we were supposed to do this thing and you're not telling me anything. Am I fired? I think I'm fired. And they're just completely silent about it. And then everybody's gonna be pissed off and they're gonna hate HBO. They're gonna be on Bella's side, and then there's people like me who are like, alright, well, see, we fucking told you. They eat their own every fucking time. Every single fucking time. And people are so stupid and they follow through with backing these corporate nonsense giant companies so they can get themselves further and make more and more money by selling their soul. Fucking stupid, man.
Reddit threads spun thousands of comments. The heartbreak was palpable.
Oh no, not Reddit! Oh shit, HBO's fucked now!
And the betrayal now had a face. Bella's. And in that moment, it became clear.
Oh fuck! We're using Bella's face for our whole movement! That's sure to work.
She wasn't just mourning Ellie, she was calling out the silence that replaced support. As the chaos
Look at that face! That's the face of revolution!
unfolded publicly, new reports emerged offering a glimpse into what might have led to such a dramatic fallout. Sources from within the production revealed a growing creative disconnect between Bella and the show's executive leadership. Known for her thoughtful approach and fearless performances, Bella reportedly lobbied for a storyline in Season 3 that leaned heavily into emotional complexity. One where Ellie—
Yeah, that's exactly what we wanted as video game fans, as TV show fans. Emotional complexity. That's what we want to see. Like, we haven't seen enough of that bullshit. Oh, fuck, yeah. Yeah, shut it down, man. You don't know what you're doing. You've lost the plot. I think you've got people working at your company who have no idea what they're doing, and they've just got agenda first. They've got their political agenda on their mind first. How do we build a show around our political agenda? That's exactly what they're thinking.
Ellie would confront trauma, navigate loss, and potentially face her own mortality. It wasn't about shock value, it was about honesty. However, that vision didn't sit well with HBO. According to insiders, the network was pursuing something broader, a more marketable version of The Last of Us that could be franchised, merchandised, and tailored to global audiences.
That's probably what they should have started with. Like, too little too late, you fucking morons. You fumbled the bag.
The kind of story that sells, not necessarily the one that resonates. Bella's proposal was seen as too dark, too niche, too emotionally demanding. Meetings
too far separated from the original product. And like this whole scene right here, this looks way too clean, way too put together. Like the apocalypse happened a week ago. Look at those newspaper boxes. They look so clean, the side of the building, even though it's got some grime, like there's no destruction to it. It looks like somebody cleaned it, upkept it, and then made it dirty on purpose, because that's exactly what happened.
Reportedly grew tense. One showrunner even described the creative environment as cold and combative. Bella, while respected for her talent, was viewed as difficult, not because she was unprofessional, but because she refused to compromise on the emotional truth of Ellie's arc. And for a network that seemed increasingly focused on commercial viability, that made her expendable. As Bella Ramsey poured herself into the role and continued fighting for a story she believed in, Pedro Pascal was allegedly preparing for something entirely different, his exit. According to multiple insiders, Pedro had...
Yeah, he could smell the end coming. He could see the sentiment growing against this whole project. So he was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to dip. I'm gonna have to pull a Henry Cavill.
Already begun negotiating with other major studios during the latter half of Season 2's production. Names like Disney and Marvel were reportedly in the mix, offering him roles in new high-budget franchises. While nothing was confirmed publicly, whispers suggest that he had already signed or verbally committed to one of these projects long before HBO's decision to shelve The Last of Us. Part 3 became known to the wider team. To fans, this revelation was deeply unsettling. Had Pedro mentally left the show while Bella was still giving it her all? Had he chosen career advancement over loyalty to the story? Or worse, over the people who helped bring it to life?
Yes, all of the above. Because he is a Hollywood shill, just trying to protect his image and make as much money as possible.
These weren't just questions about contracts or casting. For Bella, they were about trust. One assistant who was present at the show's final wrap dinner claimed that this was the moment Bella found out. The moment she learned Pedro had already made plans, that he was moving on. You could see the light go out in her eyes.
Yeah, that's how Hollywood works. Like, you'd think that she'd know this by now.
The source said. It wasn't just a goodbye to the role. It was the realization that she had been left behind. In Bella's eyes, Pedro wasn't just her co-star. He was family. And when everything else was falling apart, she expected him to stand beside her. Or, at the very least, acknowledge what had happened. But instead, he vanished into silence. And to Bella, that silence spoke volumes.
This person keeps calling the actor Bella, and that's not the person's name. It's Ellie. This is Ellie. What are you talking about? Bella Ramsey? Who's that?
The impact of Bella's cryptic post was immediate. The caption, "Loyalty is louder than silence," became a rallying cry. Within hours, social media was ablaze. TikTok was flooded with fan edits of Ellie's most powerful scenes, paired with melancholic music and quotes from Bella's interviews. Reddit turned into an investigative forum, with fans dissecting deleted tweets, analyzing unfollowed accounts, and trying to piece together what went wrong. Petitions sprang up demanding
They really couldn't see what went wrong. Holy shit, they had to do a whole fucking investigation on this. Like, they really couldn't see what went wrong with this whole thing. Holy shit! We're in backwards world. This is clown world, man.
HBO make things right, whether that meant reinstating Bella, resuming development on Part 3, or at the very least offering the fans and cast some transparency.
This whole situation is so retarded that it's making my brain feel like it's melting. Like, I'm slowly becoming retarded also.
But HBO remained completely silent. No denials, no clarifications, no acknowledgement of the rapidly growing public pressure. The silence only fueled the fury. To many, the lack of response felt like confirmation, a quiet admission that something had gone terribly wrong.
What was that something? Leave down in the comments what you think that something was.
This wasn't just a cancellation anymore. It was betrayal, not just of an actress, but of a character, a story, and a community that had built itself around both. Bella's fans, and Ellie's fans, felt discarded, and they weren't about to let it go without a fight. A few days after the social media storm reached its peak, Bella Ramsey posted what appeared to be a final farewell, not in the form of a tweet or a public statement, but through a short TikTok video that ran just under 30 seconds. There was no narration.
Wherever she pops up next, whatever she's in, it's immediately going to become a meme. Everybody's going to think it's hilarious because they're going to be like, oh, there she is. That's what she's doing now whenever that terrible Last of Us show failed. Let's all point and laugh. Oh man, I feel sorry for her, kinda, but she put herself in this situation. And like, Hollywood put her in that situation. The Glazers online put her in that situation. It's just so fucking good.
No commentary, just grainy behind-the-scenes clips from the early days of filming The Last of Us. One moment showed Bella and crew members laughing between takes. Another showed a slow zoom in on Bella, wearing Ellie's jacket, her expression unreadable. The final shot was distant, Bella walking away from the set, her figure shrinking into the background, back turned to the camera. Playing softly beneath it all was a piano version of Take On Me, the emotional callback to Ellie and Dina's bond in the second game. As the final notes faded, a simple message appeared on screen. "You'll always be my Ellie, even if they took you away." The video was gone within hours.
Who is saying "you'll always be my Ellie"? Who thinks this is their Ellie? Like, holy shit, what? Oh my god. I can't believe there are people out there that actually, like, are fans of this show. It blows my mind. And I don't think there are. I think they're fake. I think they're just, like, social media glazing. You know what I mean? They see a post on social media, they post about it, and then they're off to the next thing. And they'll be like, "I support this. This is my favorite thing ever. I love everything about this. This is my Ellie." And then they don't care anymore and they're off to the next post. And then they'll probably be super passionate about something else. Overly passionate. And then move on to something else. It's like they're so social media brained, so reply brained.
Deleted, scrubbed from her account. But not before it racked up over 3 million views and tens of thousands of comments, many from fans who were brought to tears. It was understated. But for
How do you know they were brought to tears? How do you know that? Because somebody posted about it, because they said they were brought to tears? So you're like, fans were brought to tears. Great reporting. Amber Talks. You're probably going to be relevant in the future.
those who knew, it said everything. Just when fans thought the heartbreak couldn't deepen further, rumors began emerging from inside Naughty Dog, the very studio that gave birth to The Last of Us. According to reports from anonymous developers and industry analysts, The Last of Us Part 3 game had also been paused indefinitely.
Yeah, they made so many poor decisions that they actually killed their franchise that they tried to build. That didn't work anyway. The first game, perfect. It worked. Everything after the first game was garbage. Like, they should have just left it with the first game. In my opinion, there wasn't anything after the first game. That was it. It was done after that. The story concluded.
Not retooled, not quietly delayed, just shelved. Creative director Neil Druckmann, long considered the emotional and thematic backbone of the series, has reportedly shifted his focus to other projects, including new IPs and studio expansion.
Oh man, that intergalactic game looks like it's gonna be an absolute disaster. And it looks like it could be a 9 out of 10 game, but with politics and like identity politics shoved in it, and it's gonna bring it down to a 6 and everybody's gonna hate it. What happened? Where did it all go wrong?
Some insiders say he's simply burnt out, while others suggest that mounting pressure from Sony to move on and deliver new blockbuster hits led to the decision. Whatever the reason, the result was the same. Ellie's story was no longer a priority, and to many, that revelation felt like the final blow.
Yeah, because they fucked it up. They fumbled the bag. Now they're gonna have to put the fries in it.
After years of speculation, emotional investment, and world building that spanned both games and TV, the very heart of The Last of Us.
Well, to be fair, the world building in the second game was garbage. The whole game was garbage. So I don't even know what you're talking about. People who think that The Last of Us Part 2 is a good game, is a great game, is an amazing, nearly perfect game. I hear people talk about it all the time. I don't think they actually play games. That might be the only games that they've played.
Ellie's story was left unfinished, not with a definitive ending, but with a whisper, a fade to black, a quiet, clinical erasure of something millions of fans had come to care deeply about. Ellie's story was never just about survival. It was never merely about infected monsters, crumbling cities, or warring factions.
Yes, it was. That's what it was the whole time. No, I mean, like, in real life, that's what it was the whole time. Not even in The Last of Us show. That's just what it was like around the show in Hollywood.
It was about something much more intimate, something human. At its core, The Last of Us was a reflection of grief, love, trauma, and the stubborn hope that sometimes pushes through even the bleakest moments. And for a brief, brilliant window of time, Bella Ramsey carried that narrative with honesty, rage, and grace. She was Ellie, not just in performance, but in spirit. And yet, the way it all ended wasn't cinematic. There was no final confrontation, no heroic sacrifice, no satisfying conclusion.
Yeah, that sounds about right for this show. Actually, it's a perfect ending for it to just not end. Because the rest of the show was fucking garbage. Might as well end it on a garbage note by just not finishing it.
There was only silence. A series of executive decisions made in boardrooms, far removed from the stories they affected. No explanations, no goodbyes. Just budget cuts, strategic pivots, and reputational damage control. For fans who gave their hearts to the story, and to Bella's version of Ellie, the pain isn't just that the journey ended, it's how it ended. Abrupt, undignified, erased. This wasn't a narrative conclusion, it was a corporate shutdown. And if this is how Ellie's journey truly ends, then
this whole show was corporate. This whole thing was corporate. And we all knew it. We could smell it. We could sense it. We could feel it.
it's not because of a bloater's attack or a clicker's bite.
And nobody listened. Nobody listened to us. They just wanted to call us haters. And we were like, guys, come on. Get fucking real.
It's because of betrayal, because of decisions made not by storytellers, but by those...
If everybody would have been on board with us in the beginning, the people who were like, hey, this is not good, this is garbage, then they would have stopped it in its tracks, and we wouldn't have had to suffer like this. Well, I didn't suffer. I laughed all the way to the bank. I love this whole thing.
More concerned with profit than purpose. And that, for many, feels like the real apocalypse. Ellie deserved better. Bella did too.
I don't even care. I don't even care. It's all gonna crash and burn. Naughty Dog's done. This ain't your dad's Naughty Dog, ladies and gentlemen. This ain't Jack and Daxter, Crash Bandicoot, The Last of Us 1, before it was called The Last of Us Part 1, when it was just The Last of Us. It was the first and the last.